everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ellie if you've never been here before, and on this channel I upload whatever I want. Today I am back in front of this old trusty bookshelf, but I am going to be picking the first book for Tackling the TBR episode 18. I'm really pushing through, you guys. I'm trying to read as many books as possible from this series so I can get this going. I am on a little bit of a time crunch this morning, so I'm gonna try to keep this intro short. If you've never seen any of my Tackling the TBR episodes before, I'd be very surprised that you picked 18 to start with. That's a choice. If this is your first video, I will link my playlist up here, or maybe even just the first episode. In that episode, I go over all of the rules, essentially all of the titles that I owned. I think there were 51. I put them in a certain amount of times. You'll have to check out that video if you want to know why. And I ended up with 459 slips of paper. We're 18 episodes in now. I don't know how many books that is. It's at least 30, I think, or about 30, I don't know. But I read 2 books an episode for the most part, so I'm gonna pick the first book now before I head to work this morning, just because I am needing something to read and I want to keep up the momentum. I store all of my book slips in here. If I end up vetoing something, it's because I'm just not at that book in a series yet. You'll just have to watch. If you really care like that much about the details, you'll have to go back and watch the first one. But I'm digging around. I'm checking the time because I need to leave in 3 minutes, so let me be quick. Oh, this one's about to fall out. I'm pushing it back in. This one, what does this say? The Chronicles of Narnia series. Okay, I can read this one. And it's short too. May might be the book of short months because, wait, what? May might be the month of short books because I just picked a book to read for like buzzword and it's only 181 pages. So this is gonna be short as well. The Chronicles of Narnia series was entered 29 times, but it refers to all of the books. So that means the particular set of books that I own was published 29 years ago. I do have the box set. I've read the first 2. Let me grab the third book. I know there's a little bit of a different reading order to the series depending on like what box set you get or just what your opinion is. But this is the third book in my box set. This is The Horse and His Boy, and I'm excited to read this. Physically, it has 224 pages. It is a children's book, so the font is big. There's some pictures. It should be pretty quick to read, so I'm excited that I'm gonna be continuing the series. Good morning. I have an update for you. It is a few days later, but I have started The Horse and His Boy. I'm actually gonna get a bookmark out because, if you couldn't tell already, if I don't have a bookmark in here, probably because I started the audiobook, which is true. I'm gonna find my place. I'm somewhere in the middle of track 5, which is chapter 5, Prince Corin. I don't know. Honestly, I've been listening to the audiobook, as I said, so the names have been a little bit different. If you don't know what this book is about, I'm gonna read the synopsis because I also didn't know. But Narnia, where horses talk and hermits like company, where evil men turn into donkeys, where boys go into battle, and where the adventure begins. During the golden age of Narnia, when Peter is High King, a boy named Shasta discovers he is not the son of Arshish, the Calormene fisherman, and decides to run far away to the north to Narnia, where he is mistaken for another runaway. Shasta is led to discover who he really is and even finds his real father. Enter this enchanted world countless times in the Chronicles of Narnia. So yeah, I'm reading the series chronologically, so this is after Peter and Susan and Edmund and Lucy are already in Narnia and they're like serving as kings and queens, but before Prince Caspian and the Voyage of the Dawn Treader and those books. So yeah, basically he's on the journey. I think he is now in Narnia with the horse Bree, and I don't have much to say. Honestly, I'm kind of bored. I wish I read these as a kid. I think they would have been more intriguing, but even like the big moments of the plot don't feel very big, and I think it's just because I've read so much since being a kid. But that's the update. I really don't have much to update. I wish I did, but I will probably finish this really soon. And I just feel like this might be shorter of a video, at least on the first half, because there's not much to say about this book yet. Who knows what we're gonna get for the second book, but yeah, I just have a feeling that I'm gonna like finish this pretty quickly and then realize, oh, you haven't said much. So maybe I need to start like thinking about things I want to talk about. Good morning, guys. It is time for a little bit of an update on The Horse and His Boy. I am getting ready for work. I actually need to leave in 15 minutes. So I'm gonna do some very, very quick makeup today. Just keep it very basic. So I figured while I get ready and do my makeup, I would try to multitask. Hopefully that goes well. But I did finish The Horse and His Boy by C.S. Lewis. It is, I think, technically the third book in the Chronicles of Narnia series. I will say my enjoyment did go up a little bit. Once I immersive read a couple of chapters, I was like, wait, okay, I'm back in this now. I'm not going to say my final rating or my final thoughts until the end of this video, as I usually do. But for just a little sneak peek, like I already said, my enjoyment did go up a little bit. The only reason why, like, it's obviously not going to be a 5-star because I feel like I've kind of expressed my feelings a little bit and they kind of point towards it not being a 5-star. So spoiler alert. But the reason why it's not, I was honestly bored for a lot of it, and I tried to remember that like it is a children's book, but I think even if I had been a child when I read it, I think I would have been bored, honestly. It started to pick up at the end, but the pacing was just a little off, and I don't know, there was just not enough to like grab at my attention, and so it just kind of left me feeling bored, honestly. I am super excited to pick my next book, but at the same time I'm really nervous because we're getting down to the wire where a lot of the books are not necessarily books that I would pick to read myself, at least at 25-year-old me, and so I'm just a little bit nervous on that end. But if I have time before I leave, I will pick before I go, but if not, I will just finish the books that I'm currently reading. I'm actually only reading one book right now and I'm almost done with it. I will finish it immediately. The good thing is I do already have another book on my Kindle that I can start while I'm at school today, so that's good because I'm definitely gonna need something like immediately. I think my Kindle, my current book, my Kindle says I have 25 minutes left to read so I'm definitely going to be finishing that very soon. I tried to finish it last night, but I was falling asleep. Now here we are. Now I have to finish it today. I have so much time to read my book club book, so I feel like I'm trying to like not necessarily force the book club book yet. I think I can push it off a little bit longer and give myself time to focus on reading. Ignore the train, you guys, but I just want to like give myself time to focus on like reading, to catch up on Buzzword, to catch up on my physical TBR and things of the sort, because lately, I mean, even my husband talked to me about this. There's a lot of books that he wants me to read, and I just feel like lately, he said this as well, all I'm reading is book club, Buzzword, and the occasional Tackling the TBR book. And really, I would like it to be so much more of the Tackling the TBR books sandwiched between book club and Buzzword. And in all seriousness, I would actually really like if my Buzzword books were also like double dipping with my Tackling the TBR books, because it's like killing two birds with one stone. If not, like I'm adding another book to the TBR when I really haven't been reading that much as the school year picked up. But as things are starting to slow down, the summer always picks up for me. I feel like I get pretty busy in the summer, but also I won't be working like daily. So I will have so much more time to read, and I feel like I say this every year, but I really want to fill my summer with reading. Like I want to stay off my phone. I want to enjoy like TV and movies and stuff, but like as far as like social media goes, I want to keep it to a minimum because I just feel like it's getting out of hand and it's like not even fun. it's just addicting, but it's not like fun. So that's like a goal of mine, is to read more. And especially because my reading goal is nowhere near, I don't even know how many books I've read, but I think by June last year I had read like 30 books. And so I read the bulk of my reading in the first half of the year, and this year it's not like the same numbers. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm excited to finish my book today. This video isn't about this, so I'm not gonna just keep yapping about it, but I'm actually really enjoying the book that I'm currently reading. And so just this feeling of not being in a book slump anymore is so nice, because obviously as a reader, the only thing you want to do is read. And so when you have a book slump, the only thing you want to do is not read. Actually, that's not true. I feel like when I'm in a book slump, the only thing I want to do is read, but I can't get myself to do it, if that makes sense. So if you relate, let me know. Let's bond. Let's trauma bond together in the comments. So maybe I'll stop yapping, finish my makeup super quickly, and have like 5 minutes to pick my next book. All right, you guys, the lighting is so bad, but it is time for me to leave to work in 2 minutes. I'm taking that as time to pick out a book from the Jellycat bag. I'm not even in front of my bookcase, but I just really badly want to pick the next book. So let me go grab my Jellycat bag and let's pull the next book. You've already seen me do this once in this video, so no need for introduction. I'm just gonna go in and pull. Not necessarily looking for anything specific, but honestly a shorter book would be nice, since I've read 2 short books already this month. It would be nice, but here we go. The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd I've already read. That was entered 22 times. So now it's in there 20 more times, I think. I'm just going in and pulling the next one. This one feels like a lot. Let me try to separate it. All right. Finally, I get this. The Help by Catherine Stockett. I do not want to read this. Here she is. I only have a mass market paperback edition, and the font is tiny. There's 453 pages. I'm gonna see if I can get this on my Kindle and try to download it on there, and then I need to go to work, but I'll update you guys whenever I start this. Maybe it'll be at work. Before I go, did I mention it was in there 14 times? Yeah. All right, guys, I'm back at school. Well, not back at school. I'm at school, back recording. I did finish the book that I was telling you guys about this morning. I think I said I was reading a different book. Anyways, and I started The Help. I'm currently on chapter 2, and it's taking me a lot longer to read because I was reading during my last class, but they were playing Uno, and it was kind of hard to focus. But I did start it, so I don't necessarily have like very many initial thoughts. I just wanted to document the fact that I did start it. I'm 4% of the way through. I'm hoping that as I read during my prep right now, that my Kindle will get like an accurate reading now on how long it will take me to read each chapter, because it literally was saying like, oh yeah, it's gonna take you 40 minutes to read this chapter, and it's just because I was taking forever to read. So I don't really have a goal for today to get to, but I would like to finish this book by the end of the week. Let's say by Friday. That would be a nice goal, because I think I want to start another book by Friday. I'm going out of town this weekend, and it would be nice to have a book that I can like read over the weekend. I won't finish it most likely, but just like something fresh to start. And I don't really want it to be The Help. So that's kind of the update. I'm kind of feeling a little familiar to reading The Secret Life of Bees, but they're kind of different concepts. It's just a similar time period. I don't think I'll have a lot more time after my prep and lunch to read, just because of the way the class periods are. It's not seniors in their last couple weeks of school. It's like kids that still have to finish out the school year and have a lot of work to do, but you never know. So I'm gonna stop wasting time, and I'm gonna read for about an hour. You guys, we finally have a update. Excuse the orange shirt. Ryan and I are going to be doing more home renovation stuff today, so I'm not gonna put on a nice shirt, but I do have an update on The Help. I am 53% of the way through. I have been primarily reading it on my Kindle, actually only reading it on my Kindle. In this little physical copy of the mass market paperback, I am on page 243, and look at this broken spine. My Kindle is saying that I am, actually the page count on the Kindle is very close to the paperback, or this version at least. I'm on page 238 according to my Kindle, but I have 5 hours and 8 minutes left. This book is very long, but the good thing is that I'm enjoying it. I really am enjoying it. Right now I have no issues. I love the way that it's set up. I love the multiple perspectives, and it's making me have some realizations. So honestly, I was telling my husband about this too while I was talking to him about it, but I feel like while reading it, I have no memory of the movie except for like the two things that the movie is known for, which is you was kind, you was smart, you was beautiful, and the scene with the pie. I remember nothing else from the movie, even though I've seen it multiple times. I don't know why. I don't know. I feel like my memory is just the way that it is just in general, but it could also be that I remember more of the experience, or I just remember the fact that I did read something or that I did watch something than all the details in it. I was going through like my Be Real memories, and I have like moments where I would just take a picture of whatever book I was reading in the moment when the alert would go off. And so there are literal pictures in my memories of book pages, and I will read them and I'll be like, what book is that? I don't remember the characters. I don't remember any of the details from whatever this page is. And so unless the book says like the title at the top of the page, I have no idea what I'm reading. That happened multiple times. Now there are some books, of course, that like if they are very, very special books to me, I recognize the character names, I recognize what's going on. Or if a book has a very specific like font, I can tell as well. But for the most part, I have no idea. And that doesn't necessarily make me like too sad to think about. Like I'm not super sad, like I can't believe I put so much time into this, because I know I enjoyed myself in the moment, but it's just a weird phenomenon. And I think a lot of people do experience this, but I'm realizing I also experience this with movies, because while reading this, it's like my first time taking in this story, and that's not necessarily true because I've seen the movie. Yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it. I'm kind of sad that I put it off for so long, because I would have loved to have enjoyed a book sooner. I feel like I've wasted, not necessarily wasted, but it's been a while since I've read a book that I really, really enjoyed. I've only had 1 5-star this year, and so it being almost June now, 1 5-star in 6 months is crazy. But I also haven't been reading as much as last year, so hopefully that picks up this summer. But I'm glad that I'm reading it now. I'm glad that I'm at some point reading it. I was a little bit nervous because of how old the book is and the content, but I'm really enjoying it, which led me to have another realization. I've been saying to myself that I'm not a historical fiction fan, just because a lot of the time the writing is hard to get into. It's more like classical, at least for the historical fictions that I have picked up. But there hasn't been a single historical fiction book set in the 1960s specifically surrounding the civil rights movement and like focusing on details of that time that I haven't rated 5 stars or really deeply enjoyed. Now, there's not very many that I've read. The only 2 I can think of right now is The Secret Life of Bees, which I also read as a Tackling TBR book, rated 5 stars, and now The Help, which I don't want to spoil it, but so far I have no issues and I'm enjoying my time with it. So like in my adult life, I can't say that I've read too many, but as a child, one that I deeply, deeply remember, and I need to look it up to make sure that it is like part of this time, but I was obsessed with the Dear America series. I think I've talked about this in like book tags and stuff, but like I would read every single one. And I can't remember details, but I remember I read them. There is a specific one. This one is not set in the 1960s, but this one is called Color Me Dark, and it's the diary of Nellie Lee Love, The Great Migration North. It's set in 1919, but it still focuses on the issues of racism and like trying to escape that, but still only finding that wherever you go. I read this book like multiple times, and I have like a weird like association with it, funny association with it. I tried to do a book report on it when I was in like 7th grade, and my teacher was like, no, I've noticed in the book log you have checked that out and read it like 3 times. You need to find a book that you haven't read before. And I was like, okay, fine. Which like I wasn't too upset about, because like I love reading and I've always have. So it was just, I wasn't complaining about having to read another book. I just loved that book so much. And I really don't remember details about it, but there was like themes of talking about like the Jim Crow laws and just like the violence and murdering of Black people because of like the deep racism. And it's very depressing to read about, but I've noticed that I love reading historical fiction books set in that time. And this is just another installment. Now, I don't want to burn myself out and like only consume that type of content, because one thing about my ADHD is when I find something I like, I hyper fixate on it for a certain time and then I burn myself out on it. And that's like everything. That's hobbies, that's foods, like everything. So I don't want to do that with this new realization, but I would like to read more. So if you have any idea, or if you have read any other books set in that time, and I guess kind of focusing on that topic, I would love your suggestions in the comments, because I would like to look into them and maybe find another one to read sometime soon. But yeah, that's my update on The Help so far. I can't wait to watch the movie again after reading this, and like hopefully my memory is refreshed, but also to see like the differences, because the movie is highly beloved and I'm really enjoying the book. So my gosh, I'm done. And I shed a tear. Yes. The author at the end of her acknowledgements thanked her own family's maid. Hi guys, I'm checking in. I finished The Help. I literally read like this much today. I binged the rest of it, and I am not going to spoil my final rating. You guys will get that when I wrap up this video, but just know I had no issues with it, and I cried at the end. I could cry right now thinking about it. I can't believe this has just been sitting on my shelf forever. I don't want to scrap it. I don't want to unhaul it, but I do want a better cover. Not a better cover, I want a better edition. I hate mass market paperbacks, but I'm not going to do that until I get a new one. I think I'm going to hold on to it on my shelves before I get the new one. I just don't want to like forget about it, and then maybe I'll change my mind and still want this. But I read the entire thing on my Kindle, and it was just like, I have no notes. I can't wait to rewatch the movie, especially with like a new lens. And then reading the author's note, you guys, the author, Catherine Stockett, at the end thanks a woman who was their help, who was their maid growing up when she was a child in Mississippi. And then there's like an added section, and it's like what her story about her made would have been if she, like, if this wasn't fictional, if she was really writing a book about the help, and it was beautiful. So yeah, I also just like the thought and intention in that section, and her writing about how she was so worried to write about this because she didn't know how it would be perceived considering she's a white woman writing it. I don't know. I felt like it was just the perfect touch. Cleared up any confusion, like for people that are, there's a lot of people in the reviews talking about like how this book has like white savior complex, and I don't think so. I don't see that. I really think it was I really feel like it was written from a place of like embarrassment, maybe. I don't know if embarrassment is the word, but just true, like just from a very apologetic place. And there were times where it made me laugh. There were times where it made me really mad. Obviously it made me cry, but yeah, it was really good. I'm going to put this back on my shelves. Hopefully I have room for it somewhere. And then I'm going to actually pick my next book right now. I don't have time to read it up next, but it will probably be the book I read after what my next read is going to be. Spoiler alert, I'm going to be reading The Compound for my book club. That's on Thursday, and we're hosting it here at our house, and I haven't started it. So I need to start that because today's Sunday. I meant to say excuse the hair done, makeup done, jewelry on, and then just in my pajamas. I changed. After I got home from church, I changed. But yeah, I'm gonna pick my next book. I'll read it after though, so I'll come back. But for you guys, it's not gonna be much time, but yeah. Hi guys, I'm sitting here quite a bit into the future, and I had a hard time editing this video because I was confused half the time on why I read 3 books. I accidentally read 3 books for one episode, and I had a few options. I considered taking the footage from the 3rd book and moving it into a whole new episode, but it would have just been really hard to piece together all the footage considering I didn't really have an intro for each section that fit. So I'm going to keep the 3rd book that I read in this episode, and I am going to just kind of insert myself here to say you're gonna watch me pick right after this clip my 3rd book for this episode, and it just is what it is. I kind of will probably say, I mean, I haven't finished editing, so I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure, considering to my knowledge at this time, I had no idea I was on my 3rd book. For some reason I thought I was on my 2nd. So I'm sure throughout the video I will say things like, this is the 2nd book, or I'm picking the 2nd book, or this is me rating the 2nd book of this episode, when in reality it's probably the 3rd. So the numbers will kind of be off. I will try my hardest when I am editing the video to make it make sense. So I'll probably put text up. You guys have probably already seen it, of me saying like, actually the 2nd, actually the 3rd. But yeah, enjoy me picking and reading my 3rd book of this episode, and you guys will see me later in this video popping in again to do my wrap up of the actual 1st book I read in this episode, and then continuing on with the 2nd and 3rd books that I read in this episode. It's kind of all over the place, but here we are. Surprise, I found my 2nd 5-star of the year and accidentally read 3 books in this episode. So it is what it is. Okay, I'm here at my bookshelf. We only have this much more to go, guys, and it's truly not even everything, because I've read a couple from this series. I've read a couple from this series. I think I only have 6 and 7 left, but I still have to read the full series, so whatever. If you know, you know. But I literally have no help. What? I have no space to move this down where it's supposed to go. So I just put it here, and hopefully after reading this next book, there'll be space to shuffle around, but I'm really out of space. So anyways, let's see what we're going to be reading. The 2nd book in this episode. I'm not looking, I swear. Let's do this one. It's pretty thick. I don't want to do this. I will be reading one of these. I don't even know which one comes next, but it's the next. This slip of paper says Maximum Ride Series. It's been in there 17 times. I've read one, whatever one comes before this. I don't even have all of them and I don't care to, but it will be one of these. I just need to see what comes next in this series because I have no idea. I have Saving the World and then I have just Max. I'll pop in whenever I actually start reading whatever one of these I'm gonna be reading next. I don't want to, so that's awesome. But the good thing is it'll probably be audiobooked. Hi guys, I'm checking in with an update because I have started my next book. The next book in the series is actually Saving the World and Other Extreme Sports. It worked out because this is the third book in the series and I think it's the third book that I've read for this series itself. The next book I think is out of order, but I genuinely don't care to read them necessarily in order, but especially like every single one. I don't care about this series, but I have the audiobook and I've only been listening to it this morning. I am 168 pages in and I will probably finish this today. I am hosting book club today at my house, and so my husband and I have been cleaning and getting ready. So while I've been cleaning this morning and then while I make some things, I'm gonna make a pasta salad, I'm gonna make banana bread, and then I'm also making sliders, and then everyone else is bringing like something to drink, a dessert, I think like other sides. So while I'm doing all of that, I'm gonna be listening to the audiobook, and so I'm gonna finish this within the next like 2 hours because I have been listening to it on 2 times speed and it's been like perfect. It's going by so fast. Like I said, I'm 168 pages in. I'm on chapter 57. The chapters are very short. They're all about a page each. So there's 130 something chapters in here. Let me see. This is the epilogue. There's 133 pages or 133 chapters in here, 407 pages in this little mass market paperback. But so far it's reading just like the other books did in the series. I feel like as a kid I really enjoyed reading them, but as an adult they're just so cringe. Like they're so cringe. And I'm feeling the same way that I felt with the other one. I will say though, however, whatever book I read in this series for my Tackling TBR series in a past episode, I accidentally listened to the abridged version and it was narrated by a child. The lighting is getting really weird. Maybe that's better, I don't know. It's because I'm backlit, but let me just try to finish this. I think it was because it was narrated by a child, it was abridged, very heavily edited, that it was even more cringe. I'm not as cringed out with this one, but it's still not the book for me. I'm just very excited to get all the James Patterson off my shelf because I'm just not a fan. But one thing I will say about James Patterson is it is so easy to read, like very accessible books. I feel like also the plot of every single one of these books is like the same or similar. It's all of them being chased down by erasers or some sort and the mad scientists, and someone betrays them and they somehow make it out in the end. Like I feel like that's every single plot. But yeah, anyways, I'm gonna continue reading it. I'll probably finish it today. I don't have very many thoughts to say on it, but that's the update. I wanted to update before I just finished it and then I never checked in to say that I started it, but I feel like this is gonna be a quick episode, at least on this half of the episode, because I don't have much to say. All right guys, I have finished doing a lot of my cleaning tasks. I went outside and I watered the garden and I weeded the garden, and now I am going to start making some of the food, just so Ryan's vacuuming, so ignore that. But I closed the door, so hopefully that helped a little bit. I don't think it did, but let me just wrap this up really quickly. The banana bread takes an hour to bake, and then the pasta salad I would like to be chilled before my friends come. It is 1:14. They're not coming for like 5 more hours, but I figured while the pasta salad is chilling and the banana bread is baking, I can finish getting ready and do my makeup. And I mean, I'm not gonna do too much makeup, but I did get a new concealer that I really want to try, so I might. And then just like actually brush my hair out because it's just up right now. So I'm going to start working on my banana bread, but I only have like an hour and 17 minutes on regular speed, but I'm listening to it on 2x speed, so I have less than 45 minutes. So I think I'm about to finish my book right now while I start making some of my goodies, my pasta salad and my banana bread. I'll bring you guys with me as I make those. I'll probably make the pasta salad first just because it's super easy, and then I'll check in when I'm done with the book, which I'm pretty sure I'm gonna finish it right now. Alright guys, I finished my audiobook. So we have now completed both books of this episode. I did not get around to making my banana bread yet. I was going to start, but I need a stick of softened butter, and unfortunately this stick is not softened yet. So I am letting it sit to hopefully soften while I get the rest of everything else ready to go. It was frozen, so we're getting somewhere, but it's not softened, that's for sure. Anyways, I am not going to show you the process of me making banana bread because I am now done with both books of this episode, but I will check in with you guys in a little bit when I do my wrap up for this video. Did you miss me? I'm back, even though you've been watching me this whole time. But I am here to pop in and insert a clip of me actually discussing this book because I never did. Totally forgot I read it in this episode. And as soon as I leave, you'll see me again past Ellie talking about what she thought were the first and second books of this episode. So the first real book that I read for this episode of Tackling the TBR is the third book in the Chronicles of Narnia series. This is The Horse and His Boy by C.S. Lewis. I ended up rating this 3 stars. I didn't put a review or anything. It's just 3 stars. A lot of this book I was bored and I felt like it just didn't have a lot to it. Even like reading the synopsis or other people, like just what it was about, reminding myself, giving myself a refresher, I'm like bored even reading that. Like it felt like nothing happened, and it did start to pick up a little bit, but I just wasn't invested in the characters. I wasn't invested in just really even the connection to Narnia. I feel like as someone who was introduced to the Chronicles of Narnia through the movies rather than the books, and now as an adult is reading the books, I feel like the films, especially the newer ones, I feel like they did such a good job, and dare I say better job than the books, of connecting everything and making everything seem like one fluid story, and each installment just a different time in the same story. Whereas in the books, I did feel like the first and second one have somewhat of a connection. It felt like a true prequel and then first book in a series. But this one, it's just kind of like there's references to Susan and Peter and Edmund and Lucy, but it didn't really feel like they were true characters in the story. And that's not necessarily true, especially Susan is a prominent character in the story, but it didn't feel like it. It didn't really feel like I don't know, it felt like there wasn't really a focus on her. I understand that C.S. Lewis did this purposely. He meant to write side characters and write a story about these side characters, but I just kind of wish that the focus would have been with the 4 children. I can't put my 4th finger up without dropping the book. The 4 children, I wish that they were the focus, and that these we could still keep the same plot in the story, but as a backdrop to the main characters. And I just feel like I would have enjoyed that better, and it would have fit the series as a whole. Of course, for this Tackling the TBR series, I'm going to continue to read the series until it's completed. And I hope that with the next book, things will pick up a little bit. And I also hope that maybe the focus will be back on the 4 children again. What are their names? Pevensies, right? That's their last name. Pevensey? I'm hoping that the book series continues on with the Pevensey children and like brings the focus back on them, and I just think it'll be more enjoyable for me. But it also kind of makes sense to me that the movies skipped, like the more modern movies skipped this installment in the series and went straight to Prince Caspian, because the focus is on the Pevensey children, at least in the movie. I haven't read the book yet. I think it's the next one in the series. So yeah, it was just kind of boring. Honestly, a 3-star rating is pretty high, all things considered, but I didn't want to rate it super low just because I also feel like I'm not the target audience, so I felt like it wasn't fair. But that is my thoughts on this. I am keeping it just because I'm keeping the box set. This box set belonged to my mom, and I'm also keeping it for my future children to read. So regardless of my thoughts and feelings on each book separately or individually, I am going to keep the box set together. So thanks for listening to me talk about this bad boy. Continue to hear me talk about the other 2 books I read in this episode. The first book I read in this episode is The Help by Catherine Stockett, and I loved this book way more than I thought I would. I did end up rating this 5 stars. If you follow me on Goodreads, or if you have me on Fable or even Storygraph, my reviews are probably a lot of the time a spoiler because I do update them in real time and I don't edit my videos in real time. But I really did enjoy this book, and it really opened the door for me. There are so many more books that I think I want to start reading. Especially like I want to explore the historical fiction genre more, especially, I've said especially too much I feel like, but especially as I get older, I feel like my reading is maturing a little bit. I want to get more into just general fiction, historical fiction, but especially after reading this and knowing my feelings and my thoughts on The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd, I rated that 5 stars as well. The setting of this and just the era, the time period that this is set in, feel like I want to read more of. So yeah, I still haven't watched the movie. I mean, I've seen the movie, but I haven't watched the movie since reading this, and I'm so excited to do that and just like see it with a fresh lens, especially with all of the background knowledge of the book, because as readers we know that the books often have so much more detail and like thought and just backstory to it. So I'm sure I'll still love the movie because I already do, but with the knowledge of what happens in the book, I think I'll see it with fresh eyes. But if you haven't read The Help, I highly recommend. Honestly, I can't believe I put it off for so long. It was truly so good. This is a 5-star. It is a keep. I'm keeping it on my shelves. I think I want a different copy. I don't necessarily want the mass market paperback, but I'm gonna keep it on my shelves until I get a copy of it that is a different size, because I hate this size of book, which is why I didn't read it. I read it on my Kindle, but highly recommend The Help. The second book that I read in this episode is Saving the World and Other Extreme Sports by James Patterson. This is the third book in the Maximum Ride series, I believe, and I read this in basically one sitting. I read it all today. I listened to it on audiobook, and it's very, very fast-paced, very plot-driven. I rated this 2 stars, and I'm sure after I put this book away, which, spoiler alert, not really, it's gonna be an unhaul, duh. But I'm sure after I put it on my shelf to unhaul, I'm gonna forget everything about it because I just don't care that much. James Patterson is just not for me anymore, truly, honestly. I'm bored. The writing is like super simplistic, which is fine, but like I just don't get anything out of them. The plot twists are very predictable, for me at least, and just cheesy. And this is a series especially meant for children. I have one more on my Tackling TBR shelf, but I'm just not a child anymore. And so I find it very cringe. I find it very like, you know those scenes in the movies where it's like a pep talk scene? There's so many of those in here, and it's so cringeworthy. I genuinely can't. Like, I caught myself so many times today rolling my eyes at some of the lines that are said in here. Like, I don't know. I have a weird sense of nostalgia for them because I read 1 or 2 Maximum Ride series books as a kid, and I was obsessed and I loved them. But now as an adult, I'm just so done. I'm so done, you guys. It's just not even funny. That is both the books in this episode. One keep, one unhaul. Another Tackling TBR episode down. I'm actually really in a big reading mood, and I hope that I keep up with it, but I'm happy and proud to say another episode down. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. If you like me, then subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. If you haven't left a comment already, I would really appreciate it, especially a comment on other books like this. I would really appreciate that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.